Hey Mammal students, how you doing? Hey, I wanted to give you some information today about your literature reviews because you can see them now on MyRSU, your grades, but I've also sent each one of you your lit reviews back to you so you can see what needs to be graded. Before we do that though, I want to tell you where I'm at. I'm at the research station at the RSU Scientific Research Station. I need you to see behind me. See those little plants back there, those little green plants? Hey, they're growing in the woods right now. Those are called May apples. May apples are kind of an early spring, late April, early May plant, only understory plant. It's underneath these trees you can see I'm in. They're only about a foot tall. They'll flower with a little flower in the crotch of two little stems, and they'll put a little flower out in the middle of that crotch of those stems. But those are called May apples. See, next time you're out in the woods with the family or at the dinner table or something, you can sound really impressive when you can name what a May apple is. But this is the only time of year you see them. They're all over the place in the research station now. So I need to talk to you about your literature reviews. Here's some of the most common mistakes that I'm seeing on literature reviews, and I want to help you a little bit because we're getting ready to do the next one. The second one is due in about 3 weeks, and I want to make sure that I can talk to you and make sure I can correct some very common mistakes. Mistake number 1, about 4 or 5 of you did this. I will not pass you out of this class if you don't start italicizing scientific names. Scientific names are always italicized. In parentheses, out of parentheses, in the title, in the paper, doesn't matter. Has to be italicized. So italicize your scientific names. Also, some of you are trying to use a lot of information on 1 page or 2, 3, 4 paragraphs from a single source. I know that's hard to break out of that pattern, but try to learn how to blend 3 or 4 different sources into 2 or 3 paragraphs at a time instead of using one source for an entire page of information. A couple of other things is you're citing really well. Some of you are still struggling with the et al. When you do your et al, it's when there's more than 2 authors. So in the body, you use ET, AL period. Don't get the periods backwards. It's ET, AL period for more than 2 authors. Now, when you go to the back in the lit cited, you have to list all the authors. But in the body of the text, you can say Johnson et al. Or Smith et al. And that tells me there's more than just a couple of authors. Okay? That's really about it. A lot of us are still struggling some in the lit cited section. A lot of you got counted off there for a lot of problems in the lit cited. First off, let's do this. Make sure you double space the lit cited just like you do in the body of the paper. Go ahead and double space everything. They do that for people who edit, editors, people who grade. Double spacing just gives you more space to grade. Don't forget to put a semicolon, like when you're writing out the journal, the name of the journal, the volume is a number, no VOL, just the volume is a number, semicolon, page numbers. Don't forget to put that semicolon in there. Do not capitalize the title of the paper. Now, I don't mean the title of your paper. I mean the title of the article that you're citing. No caps, unless it's a pronoun or when it starts a sentence. You just don't capitalize them. Don't use quotes. Don't put quotes around the title, beginning and end of the title. No need to do that. A couple of other issues is make sure we're using peer-reviewed information. You cannot use websites. You cannot use newspaper articles. You cannot use National Geographic. You can't use blog sites. Really, you can't even use pamphlets that are produced by like the ODWC or Fish and Wildlife Service or something. You have to use peer-reviewed scientific articles as your sources. Now, so what that means is you're not going to just be able to Google sources. You got to go to the library database to find your sources. Go to the RSU webpage, go to libraries, find your way down to articles, find your way to biological science articles or biology articles, find your way to JSTOR, JSTOR. That's where you're going to put in your title, your subjects and keywords and key phrases. That's where you're going to find your information. And that's where you find peer-reviewed articles. So I dinged a couple of you on those. Some other things, and when you write the authors in the lit cited section or the works cited section, remember, last name of the first author comes first, alphabetical order. The second, third, fourth, fifth authors, Initials only for their first names. Do not write out their first names. Last names only. First name, middle name, initials only. The initials of the second author and on come before the last name. It's kind of flipped. So the first author, last name, initials. Second, third, fourth, and every subsequent author, the initials come before the last name. I know these are picky little rules, but this is how you write in scientific writing. One more thing before we take off, and I'll let you go. Make sure you write scientifically. Scientific writing is very direct, very brief, short sentences. Don't make these long, drawn-out sentences. Science is fact. Science is data. State the facts. And even if it's don't worry about the length of the paper. It's how well you've cited, how many sources you have. I'm more concerned that you know how to cite articles than whether you have a 4 or a 5 page article or paper. All right. So hopefully that answers some questions. Hey, I hone in on this stuff, and you need me to, because this is Scientific Writing 101. This is where you learn how to write. Look at the examples that I've put in MyRSU. Look at the way they've cited them in the back, and do it exactly like that. All right. Hey, I'll put up another video here on Friday as we get ready for lab. Be sure and download the iNaturalist app on your phone, because we have to get started out in the woods, seeing some Mayapples. The birds are flying, birds are singing. Hey, saw 8 water moccasins today out in the sun, basking. That was fun. We were setting out some bat detectors and in the research station today for a senior research project. So, hey, I'm going to see you around. Look for Friday morning. I'm going to put up a video and talk about lab.